Hey guys, welcome to this new episode. Welcome back to the Aranzamendi Podcast. We have some breaking news. Pam Bondi is in big trouble. Okay, there is a bipartisan push right now to draft impeachment articles against Attorney General Pam Bondi. Actually, apparently they already started, so we're going to play that video in just a second. So they want to draft articles of impeachment against Attorney General Pam Bondi over how the Department of Justice handled the release of the Epstein files. So we have Democrat Congressperson Khanna, who said on the Brian Tyler Cohen show that they already started the process, but maybe they just want to give her 1 or 2 weeks to see how the DOJ will comply, will handle. They said that they had to stop supposedly from releasing all the files, so they had to just, hold back and release maybe just around half of them. Todd Blanche said that they released roughly around 100,000 documents, but they kept also probably 100,000 or more that they were supposedly redacting and revising, even though they did an awful job with what they released. They released some stuff that was completely unredacted, that had Trump's name, and then after they had some of Trump's photos posted, and even some documents with Trump's name with really bad, damaging information. Damaging, very, compromising information. They were removing it. They removed it a couple of hours later, even the next day. So that was reported by, pretty much every single media outlet. But still, they kept a lot of the files, so they violated the law pretty much. This is what Khanna and Thomas, Massie are saying. So let's start with that video. Let me play this quickly here for you, so that you can listen to actually Khanna from he was being interviewed by Brian Tyler Cohen on his show. Let me just move this on screen a little bit better here. And let me play it. Take a listen how he explains what's going on and what, this time being a bipartisan, push. Thomas Massie, who is a Republican, and now Khanna, both of them working together to draft the articles of impeachment against Pam Bondi. And remember, this law was passed with almost a unanimous vote in Congress, completely unanimous in the Senate, 427-1. Only one person opposed in the House. So there is a high chance that this impeachment process could get the support that these two bipartisan congressmen need to pass it. But listen to Khanna, and we'll be back with more comments now. Take a listen.
And in the morning, when we heard the Deputy Attorney General say there are going to be hundreds of thousands of documents, Thomas Massie and I said, well, look, it's probably not a full release, but at least there's some effort at compliance. But then when we saw those documents, we were just shocked. Documents totally redacted. None of the key things actually released. The draft indictment, the prosecution memo, those documents that would show who were the other rich and powerful men who abused these young girls or covered it up. None of the files on the computers of Epstein released that would actually implicate the other people. And, the country's asking, why are you protecting these folks? What are you hiding? Massie and I are ready. We're drafting articles of impeachment as we speak about Pam Bondi and Blanchard. We're not going to drop them right away. They're saying they're going to keep producing things until the end of the year, but we're ready to use them. And we're talking to survivors about showing up again at the Capitol. We're going to continue the fight.
Well, that's some news that you are drafting articles of impeachment for Pam Bondi. And so what is the threshold for actually introducing those articles? What does Pam Bondi have to do or not do for those articles to actually be introduced into the House?
Well, she needs to comply at least with the spirit of the law. Look, the letter of the law, they've obviously violated. They had to get all the unclassified documents out today. They haven't. But to be redacting the entire grand jury when a federal judge has said release them, to not have the names of other government officials and business leaders who are implicated be part of the public release, to not release the draft indictment and prosecution memo, which get to the heart of why there was injustice in this case and why there was a cover-up. They are not trying to be transparent. They are protecting someone. They are protecting rich and influential people
100%.
Who were friends with the president or know the president or have
Primarily
some hold in our government. And you know what? It's not even about Trump. Okay, there were not many mentions of Trump. they're protecting other people here. There are dozens of people who were involved in this cover-up and who abused these girls. Think about it.
Well, guys, I'm going to share the Brian Tyler Cohen video to YouTube. So if you want to watch the whole episode, it's a very good interview. And Thomas Massie was very clear in terms of everything that should have transpired based on the law. You know, it's a great episode. I'm going to share the link. That way you have it. You can actually watch that later. But now let me get a little bit into detail. You know, let's discuss this because Bondi is facing this really, I don't know, this is really looking bad. And I don't think she's going to be able to escape. She's feeling the heat right now. So how did we get here? You know, last month on November 19, remember, just last month, literally, 31 days ago or so, Donald Trump signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act into law. This bipartisan bill passed with overwhelming support in the House and unanimously in the Senate. And overwhelming support in the House means 427 votes in favor, only one vote. There was this one guy, I forgot his name, that voted against it. I guess he's probably not planning to run for re-election, right? But that happened. So it was completely unanimous, -1 in the House, completely unanimous in the Senate. They gave the DOJ exactly 30 days to release all non-classified files from the Epstein investigations. The deadline hit on December 19th, and they were scrambling. They were so eager, so eager, according to Trump, to release the files, so eager to release the files, according to Pam Bondi, that they waited until the actual last day that was given by Congress to release the files. They didn't release it the first week, not the second week. You know, they didn't wait 1 week, not 2 weeks, not 3 weeks. I just remembered LeBron with not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. So they didn't wait, you know, not 1 week, not 2, not 3, not 4. They waited actually the whole 30 days. 4 weeks would be 28. So just in case. But anyway, so what happened? What did we get on December 19th? Thousands of pages dumped late Friday afternoon. But it's a mess, complete mess. Heavy redactions everywhere. A bunch of already public stuff like all court docs and key items straight up, you know, like missing. Things that were expected to be there that, you know, lawyers and even Congress people knew that had to be there were completely missing. So, you know, we're not talking about things that were classified that they could hold because now they have an ongoing investigation or maybe stuff that was classified supposedly to protect the victims, right? We're talking, no 60-count draft indictment. There was a 60-count draft indictment from before Epstein's plea deal, you know, the sweetheart plea deal. Before that plea deal, there was this 60-count draft indictment that had a ton of information that had to be released, not there. No 82-page supporting memo, which was also a very key document that lawyers, victims' lawyers were expecting to see, was not there. No internal DOJ emails on decisions and more. Plus, about 15 to 16 of the files. This was reported by AP and then, kind of like went viral yesterday. 15 or 16 files, including photos, disappeared from the DOJ's website after they had published everything. They were like, oh shit, we have Donald Trump's. Guys, this is absolutely crazy. Crazy. Let me show you something here. I have to show you this. I'm going to read a little bit. I'm not going to read the whole thing because this is like some porn stuff right here that I don't want to get, I don't want my show to be kind of like limited because they do that. They start limiting if you have certain type of content, especially, kind of like talking about porn stuff, very explicit. This is a devastating document. I saw it, Midas Touch published it. It's part of the dump. And then they went in and redacted. This is part of the files apparently that they were trying to redact. They redacted his name. I shared it. Let me see if I can just bring, I'm going to bring the file, Let me see. Okay, I'm going to, man, it's bad. Let me, I'm going to just read it. I'm not even going to put it on screen. Okay, let me read it for you. So if you want to go to Midas Touch social media, you're going to find it. But it says this. Look at this. It says confidential at the top. This is page 16 out of 16. And then it says several girls at any one time. She confided in me about her casual friendship with Donald. Mr. Trump definitely seemed to have a thing for her, and she told me how he kept going on about how he liked her pert nipples. I guess maybe I can say that, her pert nipples, supposedly, between quotes. Donald Trump liked flicking and, sucking her nipples until they were raw. One evening, we were showering together. She showed me her nipples, right? Her, thingies. They looked incredibly painful as they were red and swollen. And I remember wincing when I looked at them. I also know she had sexual relations with Mr. T. I'm gonna say Mr. T. Who we're talking about, the orange Mr. T. At Jeffrey's NY, New York mansion on regular occasions. As I once met Jen for coffee just before she was going to meet Trump and Epstein together at his mansion. I will shortly start forwarding you all the emails which I have managed to save. They include the following. Then there's redacted stuff, and apparently there's like somebody saying that they had to just like get away from them because they were stalking or something. Man, holy shit. And there's more stuff like that they forgot to redact. I shared like one or two more on my own social media, my Facebook page, Daniel Aranzamendi, which has the check mark. So if you want to go and follow and check, I have some stuff posted there too. But I'm telling you, that's after they published these things, they noticed, they realized, holy shit, what did we do? They posted some of these things on the dump on the DOJ website, but some people were super smart. Some of the media, outlets and some journalists, reported investigators, people following the news, many content creators, Midas Touch did it. They downloaded everything just like that because they knew some of these things probably were going to be taken away, were going to be removed once they realized they made the mistake. And effectively, not even 24 hours had passed when they started removing these 15, 16 files, including photos, and then re-added some of them completely redacted. Some of the photos never came back, and some of the documents that they removed then were reappeared, but redacted. So one of these things that they removed, one of these documents or photos, reportedly showed an open book that might have been what they called Epstein's black book, or contact list, which a lot of people have been also eager to see because that list may contain a lot of the potential customers on that list. But anyway, Bondi and the DOJ are saying now they held back to protect the victims. But even in this initial dump that they posted on the website, Midas Touch just published also a letter of one of the victims that sent them a letter urgently saying, what the hell did you guys do? You guys posted my name. How are, you have like, I know it's like around 1,200, around 1,200 confirmed victims. Some people say that maybe more than that, but at least according to the DOJ, it's around 1,200 victims. So my take on that, I was so mad when I saw that because I was thinking, man, if they hadn't been so fucking obsessed about finding and redacting and hiding Donald Trump's own name that they had 1,000. According to reports, they had around 1,000 FBI agents, 7 days a week, round the clock, going, over all these files, over hundreds of thousands of documents, trying to find Donald Trump's name and hiding it. Pam Bondi was questioned about this before Congress. And I remember, I think it was, I don't know if it was White House, one of the senators asked her, can you tell us here who ordered the FBI agents to go and read and try to find Donald Trump's name and redact it? Who gave that order? And she's like, Senator, I'm not telling you anything. What she said, I'm not sharing any of that with you. Like obviously with great attitude, like, you're supposed to be the Attorney General for the country, of the people. You're supposed to be the Attorney General looking out for the victims. Somebody gave an order to go in and hide and redact a name of a guy who happens to not be a victim Unless, he wants to claim that because, Bubba had a thing with Bubba, that Bubba was sexually harassing him and abusing him at the Epstein mansion or island. I don't think he can claim to be a victim, so that we put 1,000 FBI agents, over these files. And that was my disappointment. I'm like, if they hadn't been so fucking obsessed trying to find his name and his friends' names and the billionaires and powerful people's, names that they're trying to protect, maybe they wouldn't have, fucking screwed up sharing victims' names on this new, initial dump that they did, this initial, posting of all these documents, right? So, but anyway, they said that they held back to protect the victims. That's why they kept like 50%. Imagine that. They kept like 50% of the documents, guys. We have a law. This is not a subpoena. This is a law with criminal, penalties and consequences. People are gonna face probably jail time because of it, and they still messed up. It's not making any sense. But anyway, so skeptics right now and critics, obviously, I'm not buying it. A lot of people are not buying it. The victims are not buying it. Lawyers are not buying it. Even bipartisan right now, Congress people, like I said, Khanna, which you heard on screen, and then Thomas Massie. Let me show you Thomas Massie tweet. This is Republican Thomas Massie. Check this out. Let me bring it a little closer here on screen to the center. Look at that. Consider these 3 attachments. Number 1, Epstein Files Transparency Act. Number 2, you can go and find this on Twitter, right? Number 2, statement from Fox Digital. This is a very damaging one. I'm gonna share the Fox one too. And then number 3, existing criminal statute based on this law, right? And then he says, the following tweet says, a future DOJ could convict the current AG and others because the Epstein Files Transparency Act is not like a congressional subpoena, which expires at the end of each Congress. Holy shit. Holy shit. And then he shared this Fox News post. I have this, so let me just bring that on screen here right now. Let me remove this one for a second, and let me bring this Fox one, which honestly I was not planning on sharing, but I'm pretty sure I have it here right now. Because Brian Tyler Cohen shared this one when he was interviewing Khanna. Check this out. This is Fox News, guys. This is not, no right-wing bullshit, Marxist fake news. This is, well, unless, I guess, fake news is whoever says anything that Donald Trump doesn't like, right? Because I think he has also attacked Fox News from time to time. But anyway, let me see how we can read this, because I hate the fact that, YouTube is forcing us to, not forcing us, let me correct that. YouTube is trying to encourage us to stream more using the vertical format, because they can send it also to the shorts, screens or whatever. But then, it's a little bit, I don't know, it's not ideal to share documents and stuff. But anyway, look at this. This is Fox News. The Justice Department redacted the names and identifiers of victims. Fox News Digital has learned that the same redaction standards were applied to who? To politically exposed individuals. Let me bring it a little bit in words here. Okay, politically exposed individuals and government officials. Look at that. The Justice Department redacted the names and identifiers of victims. Fox News Digital has learned that the same redaction standards were applied to politically exposed individuals and government officials. Holy shit. This is Fox News, guys. Who the hell are they protecting? What are they hiding? Why would you protect? Oh, we don't want to embarrass people. Remember that interview? Donald Trump with Fox News, they asked him, would you, this was before he took office, during the campaign 2024, would you release the Epstein files? He said, yeah, I would. Well, maybe not so much, because, you don't want to embarrass people if there's phony stuff in there, and, you don't want to embarrass certain people. There's a lot of false stuff in there. So things are not adding up. But the thing is that, again, this is Fox News saying that they are hiding something, that they learned that they applied standards to people who were not victims. And according to the law, they were just required, and not required, they were obligated to just protect whoever was a victim And of course, they could always claim they have an ongoing investigation, but that's not what they were doing here. They were literally trying to, according to reports and for what we can see, for all we know, they were just trying to protect people. Remember, roughly 3 weeks to a month ago, Kash Patel sat down in front, before Congress, and he told, this was Senator Kennedy. Let me find this, since I have YouTube open. Let me find Kash Patel and Senator Kennedy, Republican, and he told Senator Kennedy that there was no additional person to be investigated, that according to all the evidence, they were done with investigations. There was no one else to prosecute, no charges to bring, no suspicious person. He said, according to all the evidence that we have at hand, there's no one else. If there was anyone else, I would have brought, the accusation yesterday. That's what Kash Patel said under oath. That was before Donald Trump decided to, order this new investigation based on, I guess, revelation from heaven. Maybe God revealed Trump that there was still something to be looked at. Even though when Pam Bondi also, the DOJ, had also released a document months before Kash Patel said this before Congress, the DOJ had released a document stating the same thing Kash Patel was saying, that they were done, that there was no one else, that there was no list, no clients. It was just Jeffrey Epstein, supposedly. According to them, Jeffrey Epstein apparently was, I don't know, Superman, sex, Superman, because this was the guy who apparently abused the 1,200 victims, even though the victims say, hell no, there's a bunch of other people, and they are giving the names to Congress people, like Khanna and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Boebert and some others that have promised that they are willing to say these names in Congress because they would be protected constitutionally for doing so. So I'm telling you, a lot of things just are not adding up. These people, both the DOJ, the FBI, they both said there was no one else to investigate. They were done. It was just Epstein. But then all of a sudden, Donald Trump said, hey, we need to find a way so that we can have some plausible deniability so that we can hold some of the files. So I'm going to order you to open an investigation. Pam Bondi, like that looks any better. The president directing the DOJ and Pam Bondi literally, openly, I'm ordering you to open an investigation. And then Pam Bondi replies, yes, Mr. President, yes, the American people have, they have a right to know, and we're going to get to the bottom of this after I just said a couple of months ago there was nothing to get to the bottom of, because there was nothing there. There was no there. After Dan Bongino, has also, been going on a media tour saying that there's nothing. I'm telling you guys, before I used to be paid to just share my opinion, but right now I'm paid to, work and base myself when it comes to facts, and there's no one else. There's nothing there. We can tell you that we know that there's no proof to sustain any other claims. That's what they're all saying. But all of a sudden, as soon as Donald Trump opens his mouth, they shit in their pants. They're not capable. They don't have the balls or the guts to say, Mr. President, we're sorry. As much as we would love to help you, we have to say there's no evidence. We just confirmed this, officially. Kash Patel said it under oath. We're not going to backtrack now just because, you're scared that this is finally coming out, whether you like it or not. Man, what a shame. What a shame. But anyway, let me search here. Sorry, I just kept going. Let me search for Kash Patel and Senator Kennedy.
I want to ask you about the Epstein files. Have you?
Here we go.
Have you seen the Epstein files?
I have not reviewed the entirety of it myself, but a good amount.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that Mr. Epstein trafficked young women, including, in some instances, minors, for sex to himself?
That was specifically the allegations in the 2018 indictment in the Southern District of New York.
Okay. Who else did he traffic these young women to?
Listen.
In terms of what the investigation, again, going back to 2008, Mr. Acosta, who limited the investigation and limited the search warrants and limited the parameters of the investigation, the only thing we are able to speak to publicly, because he was given a non-prosecution agreement by Mr. Acosta, is that first time period from, I believe, don't quote me on this, 97 to 2001-ish. And then when the Trump administration courageously reopened it.
Excuse me for interrupting, but I'm going to run out of time. You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
Look at that.
In
Listen.
the files.
In the case file.
Let me play that again.
Himself. There is no credible information.
Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay. Now, President Trump has deferred to.
Okay, guys. I'm not gonna keep playing that. You can let me share this. I'm gonna share this link with you. If you want to listen to this, once you drop here, then fine. You can go and listen to that. It's very insightful. But there you can see, Kash Patel under oath, and this has the date of. According to the video, this was actually, I thought it was like a month ago. This was exactly 3 months ago. My bad. 3 months ago. Still, this is very recent. Kash Patel saying under oath, no one else to be investigated according to the information, to all the evidence that we have in our power. Nothing to see here. If not, I would have brought the accusations myself yesterday. Same thing happened with Pam Bondi. The DOJ released a statement saying that there was nothing else to see here, nothing else to look for. And now Donald Trump all of a sudden gives them an order to reopen an investigation into Bill Clinton or whatever. And then I see comments here, somebody saying, oh, the Democrats, the files, whatever. Guys, I don't care. This is not a gotcha thing for Democrats or Republicans. Khanna, Democrat, and Thomas Massie are working together. This is to help the victims. This is to uncover freaking fucking pedophiles. That's the thing. Didn't you guys want to uncover the whole network of pedophiles, the supposed deep state that apparently Democrats were protecting, but now we see who's really behind it? Because the Democrats have been since day one voting and trying to vote to actually release the files. Regardless of who is in them, we don't give a shit. If you find Obama, send them to jail. If you find whatever, Bill Clinton, send them to jail. If you find pictures of Donald Trump, blowing Bubba, send them to jail too. I don't give a shit. Well, Bubba, if it's a Clinton, it wouldn't be, minor. But still, get it. Try to finally open your freaking brains and understand this is not about blue versus red. This is nothing about, trying to score political points. Do you really want to stand behind people covering up for pedophiles? Come on, man. Stop it. But anyway, so going back to the actual, line that I was sharing with you. People aren't buying it. These people, the DOJ, they had months. They had months to, wrap this whole thing, to do it. Since the investigations finalized, when they finished, they had months to carefully redact this whole thing. Instead, it feels like they're just selectively editing, and very poorly, actually, maybe to shield big names. And that's what we read from Fox News. They are literally, in case somebody, I've seen many connecting now a little bit later. I don't know if I got rid of it. Fox News is saying that they have information that the same standard to redact and hide and protect victims' names they are using for powerful political figures and rich people or billionaires or something like that. So they're not only trying to protect the victims. This is why it's taking way longer, because they're trying to make sure that no Trump friend, no Republican, and remember there was a leaked video. There is a leaked video from a DOJ official saying we're gonna release the files, but we're only gonna release names that are Democrat names. Photos or documents, this is already established. We're not going to release information that is going to affect Republicans. So that's a whole cover-up right there. And that was recorded. That was some, I don't know. So there's this organization that they go and they try to talk to officials pretending to be journalists or something. They pretty much dupe these people into thinking they're safe, and they get them talking. and they record him, and then they expose the whole thing. So this guy from the DOJ said that that was the plan. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Why they would release these files that have Donald Trump's very compromising photos and emails and then say, holy shit, this one, we leaked one that we shouldn't have. And now they go and run and take back these 15 or 16 files, redact some of them, return them to the website, redact it, protecting Donald Trump's name after the whole world saw it anyway. And then they also keep some of the files that they had already made public. First of all, man, what of high level of incompetency, right? They're so incompetent, very inept, very, very stupid and dumb. You had just one job and not even that they can do, right? They could even use just AI. They could have had a computer, a coder, ChatGPT would have developed a quick, app for them to scan all these documents and find all the information they needed to find and tell them what documents to look for and where to redact them, maybe even redact the documents with a software right away. It would have been so easy, but they're so dumb that, of course, they couldn't get there. But anyway, remember, if it goes to impeachment, guys, if this goes to impeachment, which already, I showed you Thomas Massie's tweet saying that a future AG, a future DOJ could prosecute Pam Bondi and, some of these people. And now you have Khanna saying that Thomas Massie and him, both of them are working on drafting these articles of impeachment. So hear this out. If it goes to impeachment, Donald Trump cannot bail her out. Donald Trump cannot save Pam Bondi. So school's in session. The Constitution blocks pardons for impeachment cases. Sorry, Pam Bondi, if you were counting on Donald Trump saving you, this time, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to save you. So she may be safe for now when it comes to the obstruction charge, if she is found to be violating the law, officially. But when it comes to the impeachment, right now, if Congress wants to go for that, Donald Trump cannot stop it. Of course, he can press Republicans. At the end of the day, Republicans would have to join Democrats. But the thing is that there's already a couple of them. Thomas Massie is working with Khanna, drafting the articles. And Khanna said that a Republican retweeted his message about impeachment. So holy shit, Donald Trump's world is falling apart. Have you guys noticed that these last couple of months, especially the last 2 or 3 months, more and more Republicans by the day are coming out and facing Donald Trump and challenging him. Remember the 21 Republicans in Indiana just 2 weeks ago that they voted against Donald Trump's gerrymandering push? They say that Donald Trump was so unbearable. They just couldn't tolerate the pressure from him and from his White House. They said, this is just, I don't know. We're not going to take it. If you guys had given us the space to do our thing and to feel that we're still sovereign and independent, that we are a state, with our own laws and that we run the show here, not the federal government, maybe we would have done it for you. This is what they said. I'm paraphrasing, but this was the message. They said these people, they were so, getting onto us consistently that we decided not to do it. 21 Republicans joined Democrats in Indiana, and they voted against Donald Trump. The gerrymander push. You know that Texas got him 5 seats. Indiana was going to give him 2 seats. In Indiana, they have a 7-2 map. 7 Republicans, only 2 Democrats. So those are the districts. It's 9 districts. 7 are Republicans. 2 of them are Democrats. Donald Trump wanted to take those 2 Democrats, the seats. And then, by the way, Donald Trump is just tripping. It's like this guy doesn't look at the numbers. I'm pretty sure I have this because I discussed this in a prior episode. Let me see if I find this. Just 1 or 2 pages around here. Let me see. Look at this. These are the stats given by Congress recently. Look at this. The average swing, whenever you have, obviously, a majority. Right now, the majority is Republican in Congress. In the House. I'm talking about the House. Republicans have the majority. Always. Anytime you have midterms, the average swing for the House is for the minority, the party is out of power, they normally recover on average 26 seats. Right now, the advantage that they have, Republicans, is like, I believe it's like 4 or 5 only. That's why with only like 4 Republicans joining Democrats to do the discharge petition for the Epstein files, they were good to go, because it was like it was Thomas Massie, it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, it was Lauren Boebert, and I believe there was somebody else that I'm missing. But imagine that, how narrow of a majority they have in the House, that with just like 4, maybe 4 or 5 Republicans joining Democrats, they can now go against whatever Donald Trump doesn't want to do, right? So look at this. The average, they should be thinking about this, and this is probably why Trump is so desperate, but still, there is no way he's going to be able to make up for these numbers. So let me give you the stats. It's just 2 stats. The average swing in the midterms is that the minority party will normally get at least 26 seats in the House. But look at this. This is very interesting. If the president in power at the moment, if the majority also has the president, and that president happens to be below 50% approval, it jumps to 38. The average, this is average, guys. This is not Donald Trump. This is average. Every election, they go and check these numbers. This is the average. If the president happens to be below 50% approval, and Donald Trump right now is in the toilet, 67% disapprove Donald Trump as of now, pretty much on every single poll that you can find. Okay? So that means that Donald Trump is even way worse than 50 right now, underwater. So that means that the average swing is going to be around 38. This is the average, 38. That doesn't even account. Remember, we're under a new normal. This is uncharted waters. This is a new normal. We just, took over Miami-Dade, a super extremely red, ruby red city, and a super extremely red, ruby red state. I hope that MAGA lackeys are listening, because they're always, New Jersey, New York, November, those elections in November, that was just blue states. Expected wins. That was, like purple states, not red states. Bullshit. And even in November, we flipped seats in the Georgia state legislature. There was a couple of seats that they flipped there too to blue. But, let's give you that one. Let's say that, that one wasn't that important. Even though it was a freaking tsunami, it was really painful. And they say, that doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's why Donald Trump was posting constantly every single day on Truth Social. Yeah, don't vote for Mandani. Don't vote for Mandani. Vote for Cuomo. Vote for this one. Vote for the other one. He even, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he also endorsed the Miami-Dade candidate. So anyway, the thing is that they put millions of dollars in these races. They try to win them. They have Donald Trump doing everything he can from Truth Social, asking people. Donald Trump even threatened the people from New York City. If you vote for Mamdani, I'm taking your federal funds away. Yeah, but we don't care. We don't care about New York City. We don't care about blue states. We don't care about New Jersey. No. We only care about red states. So then Miami-Dade hits 2 weeks ago. And this lady, Aileen Higgins, she beat the shit out of Republicans, out of Cuban Republicans that have been dominating Miami-Dade for 30 years. 30 years, they had a stronghold. 30 years that it was red. And not only that, Donald Trump won in 2024 by 12 points. You know how much, by how much Higgins won? By 19 points. You know what that led to? That led to Sean Hannity at Fox News. Some of the biggest clowns, pro-Trump, MAGA, lackeys, ass kissers. Jesse Waters and Sean Hannity both said in their own words that Republicans are at least losing the House, very likely. Because what they're seeing is not good. It's now the polls are actually matching the results. And almost every single election is being won by Democrats, at least by double digits. At least. On average, 15 points. This is not even, I wouldn't even say this is because Democrats are doing such a great job at holding the administration accountable. And, they have all of a sudden a much improved platform than they did in 2024. This is all because of Donald Trump. This is all because of the Epstein files. A lot of the people that were supporting Donald Trump, that they thought he was going to combat the deep state and release the files, they have learned that Donald Trump, like Nick Fuentes said, he became the deep state. So a lot of Republicans are 100% disappointed with Donald Trump's push to protect pedophiles. And then he said, oh, yeah, I'm authorizing everybody to release the files, to vote in favor. Yes, after almost 10 months of calling every single person trying to vote in favor of releasing the files, especially Republicans, like Thomas Massie, he even mocked Thomas Massie's wedding and his wife because of this. Because Thomas Massie has voted with his party at least 93, 94% of the time. It's just like any other person. In some cases, he has voted against it. But Donald Trump was really upset about this Epstein whole, ordeal. And he didn't want Thomas Massie to keep going for that. So he mocked him. He mocked his wife, said his wife was stupid for marrying, this guy who was a loser and, so on. Again, super extremely petty, very unprecedented, unbecoming of, a person holding office at the highest level. But still, Donald Trump was saying, if you vote with Thomas Massie, if you vote for this, I'm going to tell the party, the Republican Party, that you are committing a hostile act against the Republican Party. Oh, but he was all about transparency. But yeah, if you dare to vote in favor of releasing these files, I'm going to say that you're stupid. This verbatim, Donald Trump said, they are stupid. These Republicans, they are stupid. They're inefficient. And they're being manipulated by the Democrats. Oh, but all of a sudden, he was in favor all along. Oh, my bad, guys. I was saying you guys were stupid. I was saying you guys were inefficient. I was saying you guys were manipulated. I was just joking. Yeah, look at the camera. It was, we pranked you. Gotcha, man, gotcha. You've been punked. Donald Trump, not only he's stupid, he thinks that you guys are stupid, but you know what's the saddest part? He is stupid. He thinks you're stupid, but then you act like you're stupid, probably because you're stupid, because you buy that shit. You swallow it whole. Guys, I don't have any sort of obsession with any candidate on my side of the aisle. If Bill Clinton was there, I don't give a shit. If Obama was there, I don't give a shit. Because we believe in our platform. We believe about helping families. We believe in better wages, better rights, for workers. We believe in better rights and, independence and autonomy for women. We believe in equality. We believe in all these things, but we don't believe in the cult of personality. We don't give a shit who's representing our party at any given time. Whoever's doing a good job, great. If they're not, who cares? But you guys have been, latching on, to Donald Trump, just following him as he's this only massive, super intelligent being. And he's just a convicted felon. Donald Trump is literally a convicted felon, twice impeached, twice declared an insurrectionist. Newsflash for a lot of Republicans that don't know this. A lower court in Colorado determined that Donald Trump engaged in insurrection. And then they took this all the way to the Supreme Court in Colorado, the Colorado Supreme Court. And the Colorado Supreme Court also confirmed that Donald Trump engaged in insurrection. So whether you like it or not, Donald Trump was found liable for engaging in insurrection by 2 different courts. Oh, those are blue state courts. I don't give a shit. That's how our system works. Does that mean that any court in a red state that reaches a verdict, it's invalid if it's against a blue, a Republican, a blue person? Come on, we have to get over this partisan shit that, that's in New York. Of course, they celebrate if New York court all of a sudden sides with Donald Trump and decides that they want to, take away that fine that Letitia James and I believe it was Juan Merchan imposed. No, Juan Merchan was with a 34 count. I think it might have been one of these Kagan judges or whatever. One of the judges that, remember, he had the fine of like $450 million because of the lying to the banks and lying to insurance companies. And he had to pay like $450 million, maybe $500 million. Finally, an appeals court in New York said, you know what, this is excessive. And they took it away. They completely took away the $500 million fine from this case. They did confirm that the courts made the right decision, that Donald Trump did engage also in, fraud. They didn't overturn the verdict. They just gave him a pass when it came to the the fine. They thought it was excessive. I didn't understand that ruling. I said, well, if you think it's excessive, why not make it, bring it down from $450 million? Why not have them pay at least 10? Have them pay $10 million, $50 million, 20, maybe one. Give them a couple of, community service hours or something, but no penalty, no nothing. Had it been, you or me or anyone else, that would have been probably 20 years in prison, right? So it's, absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, that's the guy. He is, like I said, twice impeached, twice declared an insurrectionist, a fraudster, sexual abuser, who defamed E. Jean Carroll. He also was an aggressor and, deemed by the court, by a jury of his peers, a jury that his own lawyers, selected and approved. So, come on, and then that's the excuse. Oh, that's a red state. That's a blue state. So yeah, courts in a blue state. Yeah, that's what you have to expect, that it's a witch hunt. But then you have Republican judges, Donald Trump appointed Republican judges going against Donald Trump. Oh, and they're still partisan. What the hell? Donald Trump appointed some of these judges that are going against him with in the cases of the National Guard deployment, the federalization of the National Guard. Some of their own Republican Trump-appointed judges are saying that he is using the National Guard in an illegal way. There's no invasion, there is no rebellion, there is no lack of control, of the local authority. There's no lack of control of the situation. So there's no excuse to either invoke the Insurrection Act or to go over the posse comitatus law. So you're not supposed to use the National Guard the way that he's using it. This has been pretty much every court. We have now judges from the George W. Bush, administration that were appointed by him, judges appointed by Donald Trump himself. All of them saying that. I believe that we also have a judge from the Ronald Reagan administration. So we have from 3 different Republican administrations, all of them in 100% agreement saying Donald Trump's deployment of the National Guard is 100% illegal. But yeah, because judges are partisan, Marxists, liberals, or some bullshit, something like that, right? But anyway, going back to Pam Bondi, the Constitution blocks pardons for impeachment cases. My God, founding fathers, amen. Amen. I don't doubt that now Republicans, Donald Trump's inner circle, these lackeys that are totally crazy, they're going to start arguing that a president should have, because he has a 77 million vote mandate, that he should be able to also pardon Pam Bondi. I can assure you, in 3, 2, 1, they're going to start arguing that bullshit now. The same way they're arguing that Donald Trump should be able to pardon Tina Peters, that Republican that committed actual electoral fraud in Colorado, and she was processed by based on the state laws, and she was convicted, and now she's serving a sentence. A Republican committing electoral fraud, and it was proven in court, unlike the 62 cases that Donald Trump filed, and none of them made it even to trial because they were so baseless that even Donald Trump's lawyers lost their licenses. Remember those 62 cases, arguing about the big lie? Oh yeah, they stole the election, and they can never prove a single little thing in court. Imagine that. Not a single court case made it to trial. Not a single. 62. Imagine going 62 times, taking 62 times, at bat and striking out every single time, 62 times. Do you, if you would, if you were like how you call it, the coach for the team, do you think you would try to, keep putting this guy, to bat or something? I would say, man, just, I don't know. Let's just get a replacement for you. Let's have somebody like, how they call it, pinch hitter in English, a pinch hitter. I believe somebody's going to bat, in your place, because 62 cases, I believe it was probably 63. The only case, they only won a case, and it wasn't even about fraud. The only case that went their way was a case where they were arguing that they wanted to have more people watching, access to one of the recounts or something like that. It wasn't even about fraud. It was more about, hey, let us have more people watching this process of recounts or something like that. So now they're saying, even though that was a state case, the Tina Peters case was a state case, they're saying that the impeachment power should be broad and even cover state crimes. Remember, brought to you by the party of state rights, by the party of the independence of states, right? Supposedly. And now all of a sudden they're saying that a president should be able to give somebody a get out of jail card, free card, with a federal pardon, when that's unconstitutional. But that's the argument, and they may take it all the way to the Supreme Court. And once it reaches the Supreme Court, we already know the same way they pulled out of thin air this presidential immunity bullshit, ruling that it's based on nothing. It's not in the Constitution. It's nowhere to be found in any precedent in history. But they gave Donald Trump a pass. They gave him hey, here you go. Here's your get out of jail free card, brought to you by the U.S. Supreme Court, full of 6 Republican judges, 3 of them named by Donald Trump, and only 3 Democrats who are just sad all the time because they can't control shit right now. So who tells us right now that if this makes it to the Supreme Court, that they are claiming that a president should be able to pardon for state crimes too, that all of a sudden they're not gonna pull out of their asses, some bullshit excuse saying, well, we have the supremacy clause, and when it comes to she committed some state crimes, but she was trying to influence or impact a federal election. So even though you can have also state laws that are similar as federal laws, but if it's related to a federal law too, because she was trying to influence a federal election, now we believe that this should turn into a federal case. And now they move Tina Peters. All of a sudden, they come up with this bullshit excuse, and they could claim something like that and move the case technically to the federal arena, to the justice system, and now a pardon would apply. Or they could say, well, we're going to extend the power of the pardon to a state if it's related to a federal election case. That would be, man, I gotta give him one. I'm gonna give him one. You have to give them that. At least they're creative. They're not afraid to come up with completely novel, even if it's absolute bullshit, 100% opposed to the Constitution. They're not afraid to go for whatever they believe they should push, regardless of what the law says. They're just going for it. So, I'm not sure. Probably obviously it's a bad thing because they're trying to go against the Constitution in the same way they're trying to do with the 3 terms, Donald Trump's 3 terms, saying like, well, the Constitution says that you can't be a president for more than 2 terms, but we believe that our founding fathers, whatever the Constitution means, to 2 consecutive terms, and Donald Trump didn't have 2 consecutive terms, so technically he should be able to run for a 3rd term, which is funny too, because Donald Trump is falling apart. Donald Trump is completely, like he looks so tired right now. He looks like so weak. Do I have this picture here of Donald Trump? Maybe not. I'm not sure. No. Let me see. No, I don't have it here. But anyway, Donald Trump, he looks so weak right now. How do you guys think Donald Trump is even going to make it in one piece whole to 2029 when right now, according to the New York Times, the Donald Trump's team, they reduced Donald Trump's schedule when it comes to international flights and all these activities domestically and internationally. It's reduced by 40%. This year compared to the first year of the first term, Donald Trump is traveling 40% less. And then they also reduced Donald Trump's schedule from now Donald Trump works part-time. We have, for the first time in history, somebody should give him that award too. The first time in history that we have a part-time president. Donald Trump works publicly for public appearances only from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. From 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Look at that. We have a part-time president. So, and not only that, then he works only from 12 to 5, and then he's falling asleep even within that short window of time. He's falling asleep, completely shamefully, in cabinet meetings, meetings with world leaders, and people are talking to him, and he's like, they're like, I'm like, man, take grandpa to some elderly home or some shit. Like, he just can't even keep up. And then you see all these bruising right now in his hand. They apparently keep injecting some IV for something. Maybe they're just putting a ton of vitamins and shit to try to get him maybe some coke. Who knows what they're injecting to him to try to just keep him going. It's like weekend at Mar-a-Lago, weekend at Bernie's, weekend at Mar-a-Lago. Anyway, Donald Trump can't save Pam Bondi, guys. So Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie are playing, no games here. They already called it a violation of the law, and they're pushing for more action, including possible prosecution down the line. I already showed you Thomas Massie's tweet saying, the next administration, the DOJ and the AG, they should be able to prosecute Pam Bondi and these people. Why? Because the statute doesn't expire with the administration change as a subpoena would. It's not going to expire. So that's what he's hinting, not even hinting, he's saying it out loud right now on Twitter. So, man, I don't know. I think this is a complete mess. And this is, they brought it upon themselves. Donald Trump campaigned. He made this an issue. I have a video on my my social media accounts. It's like a short, a reel or something, a reel, Instagram and TikTok too. But I have this video titled 4 Reasons Why Joe Biden Didn't Publish the Epstein Files. Because everybody's, why didn't Biden, publish them? First of all, again, just for the record, I don't give a shit. If you want to go and try to investigate Biden and find that he had, participated in some cover-up, send them to jail with Donald Trump. I couldn't care less. 2 wrong ones don't make a right one, okay? So just set that aside for now, because that's one of the lamest arguments that you can always come up with. The other guy did it too. Fuck that shit. It makes no sense. We're trying to save the victims here. We're trying to bring justice and peace to the victims, and we're trying to combat pedophiles, whoever they are, wherever they are, whatever party they belong to, if they're powerful or not, we don't give a shit. So, whenever you start saying the other guy did it too, that's an admission that Donald Trump is doing it himself. And the only defense that you have is like, well, your guy did it too, so then you can't be claiming or, just attacking Trump because, your side does it too. Please, okay? But anyway, they said for months and months and months during the campaign, Donald Trump was like, the Epstein files, the island, Bill Clinton, this is going to be problematic. We're going to release the files. And Pam Bondi was saying the same thing. The files are on my desk. We're about to release the flight logs. We're going to release the names. And then suddenly, once Donald Trump learned that he was all over the files, and he started having some beef with Elon Musk. You guys remember that? He started having beef with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk was the first to break the story saying, newsflash, guys, newsflash. Donald Trump is all over the files. And that's the reason why they're not releasing them. That was a very interesting one because remember, Elon Musk had access to pretty much everything. And he said, he's on the record, Pam Bondi is on the record saying that Elon Musk was a close friend, that he was a good friend, that they were close or something like that. She had one of these interviews when a reporter asked her, like, hey, Elon Musk and some people are calling for judges to be impeached. What do you think about that? And she's like, well, first thing I'm going to say is that Elon Musk is my friend. He's a great guy. And I'm like, oh, shit, what a disaster. I'm like, how are you going to, you're the Attorney General. Even if Elon is your friend, that's the worst thing that, worst opening statement you can make when somebody asks you about your friend calling for judges to be impeached. And you're the Attorney General, you should say, hey, I haven't heard it. I'll try to listen later. Maybe ask me tomorrow once I have a chance to actually see what he said and, think about it. But right now, I'm not going to comment on something I haven't seen. And, we try to be prudent. No. She immediately said, he's a great man and he's so upset about what's going on and he's my friend. And I'm like, oh, Lord. That was so irrelevant in the moment. Like, people are asking, is this justified? Is this legal? Is this appropriate? And you as the Attorney General should have just responded with a legal base theory or answer instead of saying, well, he's my friend. Who cares if you're your friend or not? Is his claim based on merit or not? Is it fair or not? Who cares? Are you saying that if he wasn't your friend, you were not going to help him? You see how it's just, I don't know. It's just, sometimes you wonder how they are able to just like walk and breathe and talk at the same time. It's just like, man, how do they do it? How do they do it? This is kind of like a miracle. Those are the moments where I come back to Jesus, when I see these people that are able to somehow function as human beings, because whenever you see what they're doing on a daily basis, you're like, man, this is, how can you be that freaking dumb, right? But anyway, they did all of this. They campaigned. And then when it comes to the Biden reasons that I was telling you, 4 reasons. Number one, Biden never campaigned saying that he was going to release the Epstein files. Why? That takes me to point number 2. There was always, and I said there always was independence between the executive and the DOJ with every single administration, red and blue, until Donald Trump. Until this administration, Donald Trump has held press conferences at the DOJ with Pam Bondi, telling Pam Bondi who to prosecute and, so on. You know the story. I'm not going to get into that because there's so much to say. But Donald Trump is literally calling Pam Bondi out by name, telling her who are the enemies and what she has to do. And she has to do it now. They're laughing at us. They indicted me 5 times. They impeached me twice. We have to go after these people. And Pam Bondi is, yes, sir, we're going to do it. So, Biden didn't release them. Biden wouldn't have released shit because Joe Biden never controlled the DOJ. So if you want to tell me, hey, why didn't Merrick Garland release the files? I'm going to say, hey, that's the question. You see? Now, just a round of applause. Now you finally made it to the right question. Why didn't Merrick Garland release the Epstein files? And I'm going to tell you because he was a freaking coward. This is the guy, Merrick Garland. He was, with our own people. But this guy took 2 years to appoint Jack Smith. This guy took 2 years. He was so afraid of being, portrayed as a politically motivated, weaponizing the DOJ, that to prosecute Donald Trump, he's waited 2 years. The January committee was already done with, his own investigation, and there was so much proof, when it came to January 6th. And we had so much proof when it came also to the classified documents case too. But still, this guy took 2 years. He was lame as they come, weak, too afraid. And even then, Donald Trump exploited that, always saying that he was partisan. So that was reverse psychology from day one, and Donald Trump won. Donald Trump won that psychological battle. If he had been an actual AG for the people, he would have indicted Donald Trump on day one that he assumed office. And he would have also maybe released these files. But there's another thing here that kind of gives cover a little bit to Merrick Garland too. And 100% to Biden. First of all, again, Biden didn't have influence over the DOJ. So Biden didn't promise it. Biden didn't campaign with that. He didn't have control of the DOJ. And then number 3, which again, a lot of MAGA lackeys don't know. They don't learn. They don't read. They just listen to propaganda on TikTok and all the bullshit that is thrown their way on Fox News and OAM and Newsmax and all these networks. And they don't tell you this. You guys know Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail. Why? Because she was accused by the Trump administration, which is interesting. Donald Trump says everything is a hoax, but it was his administration that arrested and accused and processed and convicted both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And as soon as she was convicted, around 2020, 2021, Ghislaine Maxwell filed an appeal. So since she filed an appeal, now the DOJ was not going to release any files because that would have probably interfered with Ghislaine Maxwell's case too. Whenever you have an open case, an open investigation, in this case were open appeals processes that could have required to go over a lot of these things, and that would have probably jeopardized the result of these cases and the outcome of the cases. So whenever you have that, you're not going to release files. Why do you think Donald Trump ordered Pam Bondi to come up with this new fake bullshit investigation into Bill Clinton and Larry Summers after Kash Patel said, I posted it here. I played it here for you guys. Kash Patel said, there's no one else. They already had all the photos. Kash Patel had all the photos of all these people, including all the Bill Clinton photos, and they said there was no evidence. Jeffrey Epstein trafficked to no one but himself. And Donald Trump all of a sudden orders that. Why? Because they needed a case to be able to justify that some files are somehow related to an active investigation. Now that gives them the opportunity to even go above the law, because if there's an active investigation, they don't have to release it. You see? So Ghislaine Maxwell's case was still pending. So again, let's go counting. Number one, Biden never campaigned or promised saying that he would. Number two, Biden didn't have control of the DOJ because there was always, until Donald Trump, who wants to be a dictator, he said on day one, but it's been on year one pretty much, and he wants to control the FBI, he wants to control the DOJ, he wants to control the Fed, he wants to control everything. He wants to go to a basketball game, and he wants to be the guard, the point guard, he wants to be the forward, power forward, he wants to be the center, he wants to be the assistant coach, he wants to be the coach, he wants to be the referee, he wants to be the guy entering the score too, so he can control everything. That's Donald Trump. But that's not Joe Biden. So we had independence. So Biden didn't promise it. Biden didn't have control over the DOJ, what they did, who they indicted, what they investigated, what they released. Zero control. And then number three, Ghislaine Maxwell had a case open, which would have prevented the DOJ from releasing at least maybe most of the files. And then number four, it was not an issue. By the time Biden won, it was still not a big issue where it had all this public pressure. Donald Trump realized it was an issue when he was running then against Biden in 2024, and that's why he made it a campaign promise. That's why he said, hey, let's ride this wave because this issue is growing a lot now. Now the victims are organized. There's a support structure. This is becoming a national issue. So let's jump on this wave. Let's surf it. And let's say that we're the saviors of the Epstein victims. During Biden's time, when he was running against Donald Trump, this was so not an issue, public, issue like that even when Biden was campaigning, Biden never mentioned it on any rally, in any rally, and not even the press. Go and check every single interview. I already did, my research, guys. Every single interview that Biden had with all the media, not a single media outlet, not even Republicans asked them, would you release the Epstein files? Because it was not a massive, very popular scandal and issue at that point. That doesn't mean that they didn't know. Just being fair and balanced, because I try to be fair and balanced. I'm a Democrat. I'm not a fanatical person. That doesn't mean they didn't know. Obama, he oversaw some of this. This started around, what was it, like 2007 or 2008? So Obama, for some time, his DOJ was, somehow related to this. And then Trump's the first one. By the way, Donald Trump didn't release the files either. I tell people, hey, remember, arguments will actually hurt you probably the same way they hurt me. So you're like, oh, why didn't Biden release the files? Why didn't Trump release the files from 2017 to 2021? Epstein already had a case. In 2007, remember, that's when he got the sweetheart deal. So this case was very old. They finally indicted him again. They re-indicted him in 2019, the Trump administration. But since 2017, when Trump came to power, Trump could have, at that point, remember, there was no ongoing case at that point. So Trump could have just released the files then, all the way from 2017 to 2021. So he didn't do it. So if I was a Republican, that would be the last argument that I would be using. Oh, why didn't Biden release the files? Why didn't Trump release them from 2017 to 2021? Shh, shut up. Don't say stupid things, okay? So those are the four things that you have there. Biden never promised to release the files. Biden didn't have control of the DOJ the way that Donald Trump, a dictator Donald Trump, autocrat Donald Trump does. He literally controls like a little puppet, Pam Bondi. Total control over the DOJ. So that was never a thing before Donald Trump. Number three, Ghislaine Maxwell had an appeal open that it was resolved when? Ghislaine's appeal made it all the way to the Supreme Court. And back in October, guys, 2025, under Donald Trump's new presidency, October, 2 months ago, finally the Supreme Court rejected Ghislaine Maxwell's case. So that was the time when finally everything was done. Now files could be released, but that happened. The Ghislaine Maxwell case was closed under Donald Trump now in 2025. So that's that. And then number four, remember, not even a single reporter ever during the campaign when Biden was campaigning for 2020, Not a single reporter even asked Joe Biden, hey, what's up with this whole Epstein thing? It was not a thing. When it comes to mass, it was not viral. Wasn't that public pressure. So there you have 4 reasons that are absolutely unbeatable, solid, very logical, and reasonable, But that's not the kind of argument that you're going to hear normally coming from MAGA. It's going to be, oh, you're a libtard. Oh, you're stupid. Oh, you guys could have published the files and you didn't do it. Oh, yeah, you guys protect pedophiles. A bunch of shit, but you're never going to hear like an actual rational argument. So this is why they brought this upon themselves. They set the bar. They set the expectation. We are going to take down this ring, this network of pedophiles, only to then protect the ring and the network of pedophiles. Then, of course, you add that to all the chaos going on in the Republican Party, all the crimes that they're committing with ICE, the way they're abusing family, good people, that even Republicans oppose it. Most Republicans oppose what they're doing with immigration, at least when it comes to abusing and deporting and breaking, all these good families that have absolutely zero crime. And now look at what they're doing in the Caribbean, claiming that they're trying to stop drugs, when at the same time, Donald Trump has pardoned 3 people connected to drug trafficking. Remember the Silk Road app founder? This guy, what was his name? Ross Ulbricht? Ross Ulbricht, the Silk Road founder, that was this dark web place to exchange money and drugs and stuff like that. And then he pardoned the Binance founder, Cici, Changpeng Zhao, Cici. He pardoned this guy who is in bed doing business with the Trump family, who invested or donated around $2 billion into the Trump crypto business. And all of a sudden, miraculously, whoa, he received the pardon. That guy allowed on his platform financing of terrorism, financing of human trafficking, financing of child sexual exploitation, and financing of drugs. And then the last one, Juan Orlando Hernandez, Honduras ex-president, who trafficked 500 tons of cocaine into the USA. That guy trafficked 500 tons of cocaine into the USA with the cartels. And in case you want to visualize it, 500 tons of cocaine is the equivalent of around anywhere from 76 to 80 full-size grown adult elephants. So imagine a freaking line on the streets of 76 to 80 elephants. That's how much cocaine that MF brought into the USA. And Donald Trump pardoned all 3. And when he has been confronted about it, he says, oh, they told me, a lot of people told me he was a good guy, a lot of people told me that even what he did wasn't that bad. He said that about the Binance founder. Oh, they told me the Biden administration was so unfair, and they told me that what he did wasn't even that bad, He won't say who is they. He just say I made a lot of people happy because they say that he was a good person and that he was persecuted by the Biden administration. And he thinks the people are going to buy that shit. Guys, if you care about human trafficking, if you oppose drug dealing, if you oppose child sexual exploitation, if you oppose terrorism, why the fuck did Donald Trump pardon Changpeng Zhao, the Cici, they call him Cici, the Binance founder? Go and read it. It's still, the whole information is still on the FBI website. Go and search for Ross Ulbricht. His information is still on the FBI website. Go and read it before they take it down. They may take these things down because it looks really bad right now when they're claiming that they want to stop the cartels. And Donald Trump is pardoning these people, including the Honduras ex-president who trafficked 500 tons of cocaine. Man. I don't know. I guess, again, you have to be a special kind of stupid to spend your days defending Donald Trump on social media, saying that he is killing people in the Caribbean, now more than 100, without due process, violating every single, international law and agreement, and even violating U.S. law too, but claiming, well, these are terrorists. This is terrorism. These are cartels. Are you on the terrorist side? Are you on the cartels side? They then want to both side the issue in the most lamest and stupid way to make it seem like, are you in favor of this? That would be like me going and stealing a bank, to help the poor. Okay? And then when people come to tell me, hey, why is, you rob a bank? I should have said to rob a bank. That would be me going to rob a bank, right? And then people come to, the police, and I tell them, hey, are you for poverty? Are you, you're trying to make people poor? I'm trying to get people out of poverty. Like if that would, somehow justify the fact that I'm breaking the law and robbing a bank. And there's many ways that you can come up, probably better examples than that, but that will show you how stupid it is to say that, well, these people are drug traffickers. How do we know? We're taking your word. Are we supposed to trust that Pete Hegseth has the highest moral of any person in the country, and he would never make a wrong, or bad decision? The guy who posted, battle plans, literally detailed battle plans, and now we have a watchdog who conducted an investigation and concluded that he actually shared battle plans and exposed and endangered the lives of our troops. And we're supposed to trust his word that they're doing the right thing without due process, without any proof, without releasing the video of the killings of, that are considered now to be, crimes of war or war crimes. Man, again, guys, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you that at some point in your life, if you're a MAGA still defending Donald Trump, that at some point your brain, something, there's a spark or something, man. I don't know, maybe a lightning hits you or something, and it kind of like rewires your brain or something. Oh my God. Look at that. El Garco says, I think this guy is AI. Probably, maybe it's too much processing power here. Man, is that the best that you can come up with? You're literally validating my point. Thank you so much for validating my point and showing me that MAGA is incapable of, stringing like a sentence, putting a couple of words together in a sentence. They just can't. The only thing they can do is just normally insult. Rarely, occasionally, I run into somebody who tries to come up with some form of articulated, elaborated argument. I'm like, look at that, but that, it's kind of like the exception for the most part. But anyway, guys, that's that. Please, if you made it this far, if you like the content, if you want to see a change in this country, if you believe that they're playing us for fools, they believe that we're maybe as fools as the MAGA people that follow Donald Trump. Because I'm going to tell you something, there's a lot of Republicans waking up, and I'm so happy for that. I'm so happy to see all these Republicans, Marjorie Taylor Greene leaving the party. Good for her. Let's give her a round of applause. Lauren Boebert telling Donald Trump, I'm sorry, you may have pulled me into the Situation Room. I'm still voting with Democrats to release the files. Thomas Massie saying, you can threaten me all you want. We're still releasing the Epstein files. 21 Republicans down in Indiana saying, you know what, F you, Donald Trump. Keep building your little ballroom there, whatever, which maybe is going to become a massive hospital to take care of you because you can't even, hold your own anymore. But leave us alone here in Indiana. We're fine. We're not doing the gerrymandering bullshit mid-cycle because you're now shitting in your pants that you're losing control. And the moment that Democrats have control of the House, you know that a lot of investigations are going to start happening. Maybe impeachments are going to start happening. Accountability is going to follow, and you don't like that. So, too bad for you, but we're not doing your gerrymandering, like bullshit. And more are coming out by the day. Now we have people joining Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna. It's insane that apparently they want to vote in favor of impeaching Pam Bondi. Oh my God, things are getting good and good by the day. It keeps getting better by the day. So anyway, my name is Daniel Aranzamendi. This is the Aranzamendi Podcast. Guys, I also host my main podcast is a Spanish podcast. I've done journalism and a bunch of stuff. So I finally started doing my Spanish podcast 2 years ago. It's doing great. Please, if you have any Hispanic friend, family member, coworker, and you want them to listen, hear more about this kind of information, this kind of breakdown, political comment, send them my Spanish channel. It's called Aranzamendi Podcast Español, literally Aranzamendi Podcast Español. Please like, subscribe so that you can help me grow this channel, since I have like 70% or maybe 80% of my following right now. At least the people who normally frequent my channel are actually MAGA followers. They're helping me grow the channel. They don't know it, but anytime you come here to my channel, you're working for me, free. I'm so happy, like free labor right now. I have so much MAGA free labor because the moment you come and watch my video, that tells the YouTube algorithm, go and show this video to all these MAGA people, just like, sometimes the thousands that I've had connected at any given time here on the show. And then you're engaging. You're also, commenting a lot. Oh, this guy is stupid. This guy's this, that. So now the algorithm thinks not only they're watching, they're commenting. This chat section is on fire. These MAGA people are fired up. Let's bring more MAGA people in. And I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that. So I have thick skin. I don't give a shit. If they want to insult or what they want to say whatever they want to say, I'm fine with that. I come from Puerto Rico, guys. I was born here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but I lived in Puerto Rico most of my life. In Puerto Rico, I'm going to tell you, like maybe half of you wouldn't even survive. And we're used to what you guys consider an insult. It's more like, you're praising me. You would have to come up with something really intelligent to actually make me feel bad. But whenever I see the normal, basic, lame insults, that to me, it literally displays low IQ. So I'm happy to see that. I'm like, yeah, that literally validates my point. It confirms I'm in the right place right now. Puerto Rico, man, I'm seeing, look at that. Puerto Rico flag. I love it, man. Wickedon. Am I pronouncing that right? Wickedon. 1234. Saludos, huepa. Thank you, man. Puerto Rico flag. I love it. So anyway, all I'm saying is that, yeah, we grow up in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's literally like a battle zone, guys. So if you believe that any MAGA is going to be able to scare us, or make us feel bad with some lame, stupid insult, unintelligent insult in the chat section, come on. You don't know Puerto Ricans. You don't know Puerto Ricans, guys. But anyway, I have that Spanish podcast, and that one is my main podcast. So I decided I have so much good content in my Spanish podcast that I decided to start doing it in English. And yeah, I'm gonna be here. So I hope all these MAGA trolls keep coming to try to defend the convicted felon, and maybe now even Pam Bondi. Are you gonna defend Pam Bondi too, breaking the law? And then failing and refusing to release all the files, and then releasing files with victims' names unredacted, and then even some files with Donald Trump's name unredacted, and then taking it back and then redacting it, and then publishing the same file which the whole world already has redacted. Come on, man. The level of the stupidity and incompetence is high. It's high. You guys could and should do better. So please do better. But anyway, like and subscribe. And then I'm also, I've been working with Brian Tyler Cohen, Espanol. So Brian Tyler Cohen, I played actually a video starting this podcast from his show. So Brian has a Spanish channel, and I've been working with Brian on this channel, leading the whole translation and dubbing process. We're publishing every single day 3 to 4 episodes on Brian Tyler Cohen Espanol. Great content. If you watch Brian in English, Brian is all over the place. Now, right now, he's been already been invited to every single media outlet that you can think of. He's routinely now with Piers Morgan. He's routinely with Alex Michelson on CNN. He's been on MS when it used to be MSNBC. He was a contributor to MSNBC at some point. Now he's not. Now it's called MS Now. They call it now. And anyway, he's all over the place. And then his channel is doing great, almost 5 million followers. So he has great content. I believe that when it comes to progressive podcasters, the biggest podcast right now is even, over every single Republican outlet, even over right now dominating Fox News is Midas Touch. But Midas Touch, it's a whole network. It's a bunch of people, working there, and they keep growing, so that they do a great job. And then when it comes to maybe the people that follow, Brian is among like the very top when it comes. But then on the progressive side, he probably is one of the most active ones, bringing like the greatest interviews. He has interviewed Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, Gavin Newsom, every single governor you can think of. The Democratic side, that's what he does. And then state legislators and AOC, so it's always the greatest interviews. And then he also has a series with Mark Elias, which is one of the main lawyers combating the Trump administration and all these voter suppression initiatives that they're taking across the nation. And then he also has a series with Glenn Kirshner, which is a 30-year experienced ex-federal prosecutor that, he has his own channel. He also used to be a contributor for MSNBC. Now he's contributing with a bunch of different media outlets. But he has his own YouTube channel called, I think it's called Justice Matters. Justice Matters by Glenn Kirshner. But he also has a series with Brian on Brian Tyler Cohen's channel called The Legal Breakdown. And then Mark Elias has a series with Brian on his channel too called Democracy Watch. So all those episodes we're also translating and dubbing to Spanish. Great project. It's growing a lot. We're about to reach like 370,000, subscribers. So we're trying to keep growing that channel. Why? Because the Hispanic community is a big, it's the second biggest voting bloc in the states here in the United States after white, citizens, after white American citizens. So they helped Donald Trump win in 2024, but now studies show that Hispanics are actually leaving Donald Trump faster than they joined him in 2024 because of the whole ICE abuse. A lot of them thought that he was going to go only after the criminals. They, played them, for fools. They obviously failed all these people. So a lot of them, aside from the economy, that they care a lot about the economy, and the economy obviously is doing awful. Inflation right now, I go and watch my prior episode. The 2.7 inflation, completely manipulated, is bullshit. They zeroed out October. They did what is called a carry forward, which means copy pasting the September numbers into October. Now that number impacts the November month over month. And now when they compare the month over month, which is artificial because it's based on October being zero, which was not, now they compare that to the last year and voila, you have 2.7. It's completely manipulated. Go and check the prior episodes so you can understand how it works. But anyway, that's why we're taking care of that community. There's not, when it comes to traditional media in Spanish, they only have Univision, they have Telemundo, they have CNN, CNN Español, but they don't do a good job. These media outlets are playing kind of like the both sides game, or even plainly and openly supporting Donald Trump as much as they can because they're afraid right now, like many media outlets are. So that's why independent media right now is so crucial. So again, if you care about democracy, this is not a left, versus right. This is not a red versus blue. This is Americans and citizens and the rule of law and the Constitution against Donald Trump and the people that want to keep promoting Project 2025 in a very extreme anti-democratic way, promoting the dictatorship and autocracy. So please, anyway, support the channel here and support these Spanish podcasts too. Remember, Brian Tyler Cohen Español and Aranzamendi Podcast Español. So that's all for now, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining, including all the MAGA Trump followers saying that I'm stupid, that I'm an AI, that I'm a robot, that they should call ICE on me. Whatever you say, I don't care. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Okay, bye-bye.